So do men have real problems, and should we talk about them or not? Let's find out. So I just finished reading a really great blog written by my man Chris, who's a brother at the Fraternity of Excellence with me. It's published on Barbarian Rhetoric, which is a really great site. I've linked it down here. Honestly, I think it's a seminal blog. It's really, really great. The topic matter is the American Psychologists Association or Psychiatrists Association has labelled masculinity an illness and that it has to be treated. And the rationale was that we don't talk about our problems or something. And I, like the author, think that that's bullshit. I definitely talk about any issues I have going on, but I don't talk about it with my wife and kids. I certainly don't talk about it with some psychiatrist who I'm paying $300 an hour to. I talk about it with other men. And I've got several groups of men, one here on the ground and one online in the Fraternity of Excellence, which if anything's going on in my life, I totally talk about what's happening. You know, some of it's positive, some of it's negative. Sometimes they call me out when I'm just weak or if I've on some of my bullshit, but mostly they provide really, really good help. It's a great resource for other guys. You can join the Fraternity of Excellence or you can go find another tribe. But this poses the question of, should men talk publicly about what's going on in their lives? I think there's a really strong answer that no, we shouldn't, and that doesn't make us sick and that doesn't make us ill. In fact, it makes us good and it makes us healthy. And the problem is this: I've got a book coming out, and in there I stipulate that the two biggest products in the world right now, it's not iPhones, it's not shoes, it's not cars or anything else. It's what I call product X and product Y. And product X is something like pretty helpless women. Go on any news site you want anywhere. In my home city, I've got a site called perthnow.com.au, and they do it all the time. The lead story is always something like a hurt female, and that female is usually somewhere between the age of 16 and 24, and something's going on. And because it's like a local news site, I always think, uh-oh, someone's been hurt in my city. It never is. The girl's in Vladivostok or Oslo or Nairobi or just the prettiest girl that you can find on the globe that has been hurt is almost always the lead story. But that's not the end of the story, because product Y comes in, bad men. It's always she's been hurt by a bad man, and sometimes they'll even do that thing where they do the photo of the girl and the photo of the guy, and the guy will be tattoos and looking mean, it'll be his mugshot, and he'll have a facial scar, and it'll just be this stereotypical, like, evil male. And that's just always the story, and it's got nothing to do with local news. Sometimes the news is from 2, 3, 4 years ago, you know. The photos are usually sourced from these people's Facebook pages. They just rip off some picture of some girl in a ball gown on the day of her ball or her prom, as the Americans say. Every time that men, and this is my point though, every time that men try and say something like, I'm an alcoholic, or I hit my kids, or I cheated on my wife, or I got fired from my job and I haven't told my family yet, or I've got a gambling problem, or any time we talk like that, we want it so that society will say, oh, let me help you. But these days, society's just going to say, oh, let me help you, and run off and demonize us as quick as possible. And anything we're going to say is going to be used by the feminists to point out that masculinity is wrong. It would appear that anything that we say is going to be used by the American Psychologists Association to prove that we're an illness. Anything that we say is going to be used by the mainstream media to say this is why we need men to be persecuted, and anything we say is going to be used by left-wing governments to say this is why we need more laws and more police and more systems of control, because these guys are absolutely terrible. On the flip side, any big victories we have, if we stop drinking, if we patch up our relationship with our kids, if we find romance again with our wives, no one's going to publish that. It's only ever one side of the story they're going to publish. The only way we can ever really talk about this is, yeah, you got to find a private tribe of other men that are going to keep your secrets for you, that are going to make sure that whatever you've said doesn't leak out about yourself. And picking that tribe, it sounds counterintuitive, but you want it to be almost as antisocial as possible. Every now and then I see on the news one of these sort of tribes of guys tries to go mainstream or tries to like publish who they are and make themselves public and do interviews with the press and all that sort of stuff. Terrible idea. Why? Go back and see product Y. They're just going to demonize all this sort of stuff. Any tribe you have to join needs to be, you know, counterculture. It needs to be private. It needs to be red pill. It needs to be awake, and it needs to be prepared to keep the secrets that you have. And this is never going to happen publicly. You're going to have to go looking for a private tribe of guys and find out about it. Alright, that's enough for me today. Another video coming soon. Thanks very much. Charlie Delta, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.